More moves are coming for the Toronto Blue Jays following Ross Atkins making a huge signing of Max Scherzer. Numerous new reports have dropped revealing that not only are the Jays not done, but they are preparing for something a lot bigger than Jays fans may have thought. So stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, quick reminder, hit that subscribe button. If you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Again, uploading multiple times a day for you all. And thank you guys for your continued support. I see you all down below. But ladies and gentlemen, the Jays made a huge signing in Max Scherzer, and I covered that earlier today and just a couple hours ago, actually. And this was a huge move, not only from a baseball perspective, from a rotation perspective, but from an entertainment perspective. The Toronto Blue Jays can now finally plot out a team that is at least somewhat exciting and fun heading into next season. But following the Max Scherzer signing, reports have indicated that not only are the Jays not done, but Pete Alonso is on the horizon, according to a couple different reports. Let's break it all down. We can see this here. Now, again, we know the signing was great, according to, it was the $15 million signing. I covered that earlier today, but there's a few things I want to go. We'll start with this Hector Gomez tweet. So this one came out right after the signing. Good news for Blue Jays fans. And this was back in January, on January 20th. There are more moves to come. The Jays aren't done yet. Hector was right on the money, and he said more good news will be coming for Blue Jays fans. So this has fans up in arms because let's not forget, it was just a little bit ago that we were talking about Pete Alonso being locked in as a Blue Jay. We had the Doug Doucette report come out that it was Scherzer and Pete Alonso that they're both going to sign, and that they're bouncing off of each other. Now we have a report from Hector Gomez coming out and saying, hey, more good news is going to come for the Toronto Blue Jays. Not just Max Scherzer, but Pete Alonso as well, is seemingly what fans are starting to speculate. Now, I covered in the first video today from Pat Ragazzo about his report on Max Scherzer, and he said the Jays have been most serious on Scherzer, and he and Pete Alonso have had a close relationship, both Scott Boras clients as well. Deal for Max had been in the works since the end of last week and now has come to fruition. And like I covered in the video earlier, like Pete Alonso and Max Scherzer are not only friends, they're both represented by Scott Boras. And the whole time, the kind of reports are that, Max Scherzer wanted to join the Jays and would only join the Jays on the contingency that they are either going to add another bat or they're really going to push to win. So if you want to do some speculation, some are speculating that, hey, the Jays are going to make another move here. And I think that is the case, whether it be the report from Hector Gomez, from Pat Ragazzo, and Bob Nightingale. We got a report from him as well. It seems like at this point, the Jays are all in to acquire one more hitter. That is all they need. Well, they need a lefty in the bullpen, and they need one more hitter. And Pete Alonso would make a lot of sense. And there's also some, rumors circulating surrounding Danny Colome, a lefty that the Jays could pick up in the bullpen. We'll have a video on that coming out eventually soon as well. But again, there's just a lot to be excited about here. And within the story last night, I've been hearing the Jays' goal was to land two of Max Scherzer, Pete Alonso, and Alek Bregman. They are also trying to extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr. One down, one to go in the free agency market. And again, Pat Ragazzo is very reliable in this case. He literally came out last night with the report that I covered and basically saying, hey, the Jays are in on these guys and that there's a good chance and there's, steam, momentum towards Max Scherzer. And let's not forget, just a few days ago, Ben Nicholson-Smith and Shai Davidi, they both, BNS and Shai Davidi both came out, specifically Ben Nicholson-Smith, saying, hey, there's no momentum towards a deal with Max Scherzer or Pete Alonso. And then clearly there was, because then a few days later, they signed with the Toronto Blue Jays. So now the question is, what moves are going to come? I mean, all signs now are pointing to Pete Alonso. If he does not go back to the Mets, and again, Steve Cohen came out and said they don't think he's going to bring him back, and then some reports started to come out that maybe he'll be interested. If anything, this makes things a lot easier for Pete Alonso. If you're getting more money than you are from the Mets, or, the Mets took their offer off the table, all these different, and the Mets just don't want you. The Jays now have one of his good friends, and they got Max Scherzer, who's an elite player, or has been an elite player. He's not really elite anymore, but he's still going to be solid. And now you think back to a couple different things. And I want to start with this. Just thinking about with these two paragraphs for no reason. This was from Mark Feinstein a couple days ago. I covered it. The expectation is that Scherzer could land around $15 million on a one-year deal, which is what he got. And if Scherzer decides on Toronto, the word is that this could potentially enhance their chances to get Alonso due to the players having a close relationship. Scherzer has spoken to the Jays with sources briefed in the situation, describing discussions being serious, but nothing has come to fruition yet. The belief is that Toronto's goal is to land two of the three names in the open market. The former two look to be the most attainable at this point. And keep in mind, that was the former two there being Alonso and Bregman. And they got Max Scherzer. So, again, we'll have more videos covering this. But it seems like at this point, if you add up everything, you have Max Scherzer coming out and signing with the Jays. You have a guy like Hector Gomez saying, hey, Jays fans, more moves are on the horizon here. The more moves that are on the horizon are hopefully going to be in the form of Pete Alonso. But let's not also forget, they are involved in Alex Bregman as well. And according to this reporter who got the, was bullseye with the Max Scherzer stuff, and Mark Feinstein was running the money with the amount, $500,000 more he ultimately got, probably to, overcut his good buddy Justin Verlander after they both left the Mets. But regardless of that, it's interesting now because you start to think about what players they could be getting. They have a 6-year offer on the table, for Alex Bregman. They supposedly have an offer, 3 years, $76 million, probably 75. So let's just say, for the sake of, arguments here, a 3-year, $75 million deal on the table, right? So now you have two huge deals on the table, a $75 million and, of course, Alex Bregman's. What are you going to do now if you have to choose between one of them? But even then, the fact that Max Scherzer came out multiple times and said he only wants to join a team that is willing to compete. Max Scherzer is 40 years old. And not only is he 40 years old, I cannot imagine that he would join this Toronto Blue Jays team without some sort of, not guarantee, but reason to believe that the Jays are going to add one more hitter and really push all in this year. Because if you're going on your age 40 season, he's coming to Canada now, and in his last season of his career, you'd assume, he needs to go out and at least attempt to win a World Series, and that's what he's been trying to do. He's the biggest competitor out there, and I don't think Max Scherzer would have signed this deal with the Toronto Blue Jays unless he was fully confident in his abilities to be an elite pitcher, at least in his mind, right? And now, Pete Alonso is his good buddy. They've been in deep conversations with Pete Alonso. This would now probably push Pete Alonso a little bit more if he had to decide between the two, being the Mets and the Jays. If there was some reason to give the Jays an edge here, they just got one of his good friends. It pushes both of them towards contention. Like, obviously, I'm sure Pete Alonso wants to win as well. Do the deal now. And also, there was no deferred money in the Pete Alonso contract, according to Ben Nicholson-Smith, which, again, we'll cover later. But, ladies and gentlemen, these comments from Mark Feinstein really got you thinking. And again, if Scherzer decides in Toronto, the word is it can enhance their chances of getting Alonso. I think this absolutely enhances their chances of getting Alonso. You also had Bob Nightingale come out and say the Jays are still in on Pete Alonso if he doesn't go to the Mets. Let's not forget what John Heyman said a few days ago. Basically, same thing here. It would help their chances of getting Pete Alonso if they get Max Scherzer. And there's been some reports saying, like earlier, that the Jays would need Pete Alonso to get Max Scherzer. That wasn't the case. There was another report from Pat Ragozzo saying if the Jays get Scherzer, they have a better chance of landing Pete Alonso. So if either of those reports are right, signs are pointing to now Pete Alonso being a Toronto Blue Jay. And what that means going forward is, of course, I'm not going to dive into what the lineup looks like because we know how good it would be if they get Pete Alonso. There's been tons of videos about that. But if they can go out and actually get this guy, you talk about how good their starting rotation is now, how good their bullpen is now with Yuri Rodriguez being moved down. All these reports are starting to come out that more moves are coming. The team is starting to look very, very interesting. And there's just a lot of new reports coming. I'm sure a lot more are going to come. And I think if Pete Alonso now wants to take that step, his friend is over in Toronto, may as well get the deal done. But that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Thank you guys for watching. See you later. Cheers.